Well, sitting out here in this heat, kind of hot. Trying to make sure my phone would get hot. See if you can do that warm weather like this. So I'm just sitting here trying to make this headache go away, whatever it is, muscle tension, something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, mm, I got this book off eBay talking about the Althorp Estate. This is Althorp, the story of an English house. It's pretty funny, um, though. I made a short the other day about William and Harry. Uh, Somebody had put on a video there that they could take the Althorp estate from Charles and Charles's kids. That is so insane. That's so insane. They cannot do that. They wouldn't want to do that. And they don't own the grave that their mother, the island that their mother is resting on, the body of the Princess Diana is on. The island in the park there. They don't own that. They can't own it. It's a park, and if anybody owned it, it would be Charles Spencer, Diana's brother. So what this book talks about is some of the things, how the park was developed and stuff and all that, and the state surrounding things. Uh, like I said, I got this for like $5 and some change of the shipping and handling from, I think it came from, it came from Aurora, Illinois. See, he personalized it, Charles personalized it to somebody. I don't know what this is, something other bits wishes, Charles Spencer. If you notice too, his signature is a lot like Diana's. If you ever read Diana's letters, you see that his handwriting and her handwriting are very similar. And so he says on here, without his grandfather, Althorp wouldn't be what it was. So that's pretty cool. And here you got the owners of Althorp from the early 1500s. Hello. And they go back further than that too. But he's just using this as a reference. He didn't go all the way back. And talks about the Wormlington, the first residence right there. And then eventually he gets to the Althorp Estate itself. And it shows you, there's like some foxing on here. It's kind of browning right there. Shows you the layout of the house here, the main house. Trying to see where Diana's room might have been. But it didn't show it. Ante room, great room, oak bedroom, King William bedroom, Queen Mary bedroom, picture gallery, chapel, Spencer gallery. It shows Charles, his dad, and his grandfather, the Earl Spencer, Viscount Althorp, and he would become Viscount Althorp, and then the Earl. And this is the stables right here, part of it. And if you look at some pictures, this is the main house too. If you see some pictures, you'll notice that Diana used to walk on the fence there and practice her ballerina stuff. And it's going to be an interesting read. I'm going to read it here shortly when I get a chance. And it shows different rooms in the house and stuff like that. Drawing room. So anyway, and that's I think that's right into saloon. I don't know. Paladin. I don't know. What's this? Family coat of arms. That's interesting. See here, this is a what? The Red Earl John Ponce, 5th Earl Spencer Lining Estate in the Wooten Hall. Wooten Hall. He died. The Red Earl. This is Charles's dad, Dinah's dad, in the driveway. Grandfather of Lord Spencer. It's tells you how pretty much how that stuff that where Princess Diana, the island and stuff, all that she was laying on, resting on, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff was pre-built way before. It wasn't done just because she died. This is King James, some kind of linked to King James and King Charles II, his son. I think he had his head cut off, or something. He was beheaded. Lady Jane Grey. I guess they are some of the visitors of Althorp. Oak bedroom of the 1st Earl. Georgiana Ponce, wife of the 1st Earl, John Ponce Spencer. This right here is the Spencer House, not far from Buckingham Palace. House, Buckingham Palace. A house. It used to be called a house, then it was called Palace. And that's in the lower part of the Althorp House there. It's in a saloon. And there's some paintings that are hanging in the house. It looks like it'd be an interesting read. This is the stables, and that's what they look like in, I think, in '99. This is when this book was made. So it's been out for like 26, 27 years. Not long after Diana died. This is the stables right here, and there's like a fence that Diana would play on, practicing her ballerina stances before she moved into London and got her a flat. The garden keeper house, some kind of statue, gamekeeper. Sarah Jennings, Duchess of Marlborough. Now this is the dude right here. I can't wait to read about this one. Let's see here. This is the one that pretty much developed the gardens and stuff, and the old thing and the park and stuff like that. The second Earl with his sisters, Lavina, Bingham, Althorp Estate with the house and the gardens and that little pool. I mean, the thing where Dinah's buried would probably be in there somewhere. That'd be great if they had like an individual type of map or something showing it, how it's built or something like that, or even talking about it. But they don't. It's a little library. I mean, you can imagine how it's just hall-nated alcoves at both ends. Let's see here. It just looks like an interesting book. Fourth Earl Spencer. The fifth Earl Spencer, big read with his wife. Charlotte. Some salt in there. Family Bible. Come on. This is the dairy house. This is the little house. If you look at the place where Princess Diana is buried, that little oval lake, and you look right across it, and north of it, I think, is this little dairy house. And this was built, this little cottage was built in 1786. So it's over 240 years old. 250, well, 200. 240, 239, 240. This is John and Sarah, Jane, Charles, and Diana. This is the people who work at the house. Yes, 1972. Whenever seventh Earl was there, and the fifth Earl, the sixth Earl, the seventh Earl. Charles' grandfather, Diana's grandfather. S-curled spin doorknobs. Yeah, I'm gonna look at this later on. I ain't really got it reading it yet. There's John with his second wife. Into minimal. I was 14. At the point of having Althorp foisted on me at an age when my contemporaries were dealing with the demands of adolescence rather than heirlooms. But my father's heart was strong and he pulled through on a life support machine despite pneumonia, kidney infections, saved by the fact that he did not smoke and rarely drank. Rain and my sister Sarah separately sat for hours after hour by his bedside, When he came out of the hospital, it was clear that he was extremely fortunate in being left with only relatively minor problems with balance and a perpetual shortness of breath. He also had a different perspective on life, no doubt the result of his near-death experience. My father, for so long extremely cautious with money, began to enjoy his inheritance to the full while handing over all responsibility for running Althorp to Rain. All that is, apart from his beloved wine cellar, where he would potter for hours, laying down new acquisitions, rejoicing in the jewels of his collection. Shadow Yapun, the Petrus of the full range of 1924 ports. This was a true domain where nobody else was welcome, and he could spend hours undisturbed in peace at his own pace. His other great joy was his wine shop, an extension of his cellar cum bunker, where he would spend many happy afternoons talking to visitors from around the world. He did not so much wine, but that was irrelevant to him. Smiling and say, "Good day today. 2 divorces and a hysterectomy." Before placing his meager takings in the safe, I closed the wine shop down. When I took over, out of respect for my father, it was so very much his hobby, his place, that it would have been wrong to perpetuate it after he was gone. Across at the house, things were a little more frantic. An estimated £2 million was spent redecorating Althorp in the 1980s, which has been written about. There was a question of taste with regard to these changes, so I did not want to go into that here in great detail. That's interesting. I have to say this. It's a little vain, you know. The man kind of putting himself on pictures, but I don't know. I guess it's for reasons of showing the house off, not so much himself. I'm sure he knows that he's the one. When he put this book out, he wasn't going to be making the money. It's the fact that it was tied to Princess Diana. That's why High would make money. Not because of him. I'm sure he knew that, though. Nice pictures. Billiard room. Let's call it a pool room. How about that? Billiards. Georgiana Ponce, Council Spencer. And we know this famous lady, the most beautiful lady in the world, still is to this day. Pretty smile. Nobody can get over this face. I mean, and that's what it looked like before they renovated it. The island, before she was buried on the island, and that temple-like thing, which they had been there since the late 1700s. And let's see what it says here. This is what it says here about the about why she wasn't buried on in the Spencer Vault in the Great Brington Church there. See, such was her appeal that everyone remembers the moment they heard Princess Diana's death. My memories are on the telephone calls in the middle of the night, which confirmed the very worst. The car crash had been fatal. It soon became clear the practices would have to be dealt with. Practicalities would have to be dealt with. While arrangements for the funeral started, so did the question of where she would be buried. For nearly 5 centuries, members of the family had been placed in the chapel of St. Mary's in Brington. Most recently, my grandparents and my father had been buried there. The sealed entrance chisel open before being cemented shut again. In 1992, when my sisters and I had placed the urn of our father's ashes down in the vault, I had said to the three of them, "Do you realize one of us will probably going to have to go through this sort of thing with the other three of us?" It seemed the first of these occasions had arrived all too soon. Yet, just as plans were being made to place Dana with her ancestors, a message came from London that she had specifically requested in her will that her remains be buried in a coffin rather than cremated. And here's somebody walking around This worried me enormously because ventilation would be needed, and ventilation necessary came some sort of access to the vault. All the ancestral bodies had been tidied up and cremated by a grandfather in the 50s. The last 3 burials had been of ashes. How about that? There was also a question of the effect of Brington. The village was already being overrun by tourists and the media, and since it was anticipated that this would be the place where Dinah would be laid to rest, but simply it was doubtful that the village could cope. These were the darkest of days when family grief was all but matched by the devastation of a nation that had witnessed the demise of someone who had seemed as far removed from death as it was possible to be. Anyone who experienced death of a close relative will know that the insomnia is one of the symptoms of intense grief. It was during such a spell of listless wakefulness that I realized that we had to bring Diana inside the park in order to protect her and Brington as best we could. Protect Brenton, I guess that's what it means. From there, it was a short step to deciding that the island in the round oval would be the best place for her to be buried. She loved water, and it was her element. There was also the fact that the water would be act as a buffer against the interventions of the insane and ghoulish, the thick mud presenting a further line of defense. We all agreed that, with its beauty and tranquility, this was the place for Diana to be. 6 days after her burial, which the Princess of Wales Regiment had performed so magnificently, a meeting took place in a great room of Althorp. Present were my 2 managers of police, the highway authorities, and local councillors, and myself, talking about how long they would stay open, things like that, and fun stuff. A lot of this to read. This was the grandmother. She looks just like her. I mean, she looks the spitting image of Princess Diana. Beautiful woman. And this is in the stable house, I believe. And that's that memorial urn. And of course, shot of him. All this for $5, $6, with his signature in it. Nobody want it. I'm sure he's not selling a lot of these. He's got other books he's selling now that kind of supersede this one. But anyway, just thought I'd do a little video on this. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna go home now. It's pretty hot, sweaty.